Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Jazariyyah introduction. This is the first lesson, and here is an Arabic text. Sorry for the introduction of the text. يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي الحمد لله وصلى الله على نبيه ومصطفاه محمد وآله وصحبه ومقرئ القرآن مع محبه وبعد إن هذه مقدمة فيما على قارئه أن يعلمه إذ واجب عليهم محتم قبل الشروع أولا أن يعلموا مخارج الحروف والصفات ليلفظوا بأفصح اللغات محرر التجويد والمواقف وما الذي رسم في المصاحف من كل مقطوع وموصول بها وتاء أنثى لم تكن تكتب بها. And it might be beneficial to first learn the vocabulary on the website, and inshallah you can find a link to online flashcards which you can practice the vocabulary for this chapter. So when you're reading it, it should help you understand the text. Now, يقول راجي عفو رب سامعي محمد بن الجزري الشافعي. Translation. Please note the translation. I've taken the translation word for word from the commentary on the Jazariyyah done by Sheikh Salim Al-Ghaibi from South Africa. So it's just a word by word copying of his translation. So, says he who hopes for the forgiveness of the all-hearing Lord, who is Muhammad ibn al-Jazari al-Shafi'i. So it's saying that Imam al-Jazari says he's the one who hopes for Allah's forgiveness. He is saying that Alhamdulillahi wa sallallahu ala nabiyyihi wa mustafahu. Translation: all praise is due to Allah, and may Allah send salutations upon His Prophet and His chosen messenger. So, okay. And that's how, the scholars, they start their book with praising Allah and sending salutations upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wa muqri'il Qur'ani ma' muhibbihi. Translation: Muhammad, his family, his companions, the teacher of the Quran, and he who loves him, i.e. the teacher, or it, i.e. the Quran. In order to benefit from studying Quran, some adab, etiquettes should be kept in mind. So these are some etiquettes that my teacher, Sheikh Faisal, he mentioned when we covered this part was, tahara, which is cleanliness. You should be clean from minor and major impurities. You have to be clean from major to recite Quran, and for minor it's also preferred. Facing the qibla while reciting or doing any kind of ibadah, you should you should try your best to face the qibla, and preferably the best place to read Quran is in the masjid. And when you start, you should start with ta'awudh. Inshallah, I'll try to compile a longer list and hopefully post a link on the website, inshallah. وبعد إن هذه مقدمة فيما على قارئه أن يعلمه. Translation: thereafter, verily this is an introduction regarding that which is compulsory upon its reciter to know. It is an obligation upon every Muslim to recite the Quran with proper tajweed. It is a communal obligation for some to know the rules and terminology, basically the science of tajweed. Though it should be noted, it is difficult to teach adults without teaching the rules first. So basically, the scholars of Tajweed, they said that in a community, it is necessary that at least one individual knows all the science itself, as in what the rules are called, and the terminology and all that stuff of the science. So at least one person has to know that, just to keep that alive. And the rest of the Muslims, they don't have to know what a they don't have to know the name of ghunna, ikhfa, ibhar, or jawf and stuff like that, all this terminology. But when they recite Quran, you know for them it is necessary to recite with tajweed. So if they don't know they don't have to know the rule per se, but they have to be able to apply it. And in my experience as a teacher, if a student grows up in an environment where everyone is reciting with proper pronunciation of the letters, especially, then they pick it up, and you don't have to show them a diagram and explain how exactly to pronounce a letter and where the tongue, because they just pick it up, and that's what my experience has been. But as my teacher, Sheikh Faisal, he mentioned, but with adults, it's kind of difficult, especially when they learned incorrectly the first time, to reteach it to them. It's important. You kind of have to use diagrams, and it's kind of like you have to use rules. Um, but it's an interesting distinction that the scholars made. إذ واجب عليهم محتم قبل الشروع أولا أن يعلموا. Translation: as it is certainly compulsory upon them before starting recitation of the Quran, firstly to know. So basically it's saying that before someone starts reciting Quran, they need to know the signs of tajweed to read properly. So مخارج الحروف والصفات ليلفظوا بأفصح اللغات. Translation: the origin of the letters and their characteristics, so as to pronounce it in the most eloquent of languages. So the first point is, what is makhraj? And I describe makhraj as direction. This is my own personal how I describe makhraj and sifat. And I say sifat is quality. Alright? So it's like, if someone is trying to go somewhere, you tell them, go down Main Street, and after 2 lights, make a left. Alright? And so that's just giving direction. That's like when you say that, when you pronounce qaf, it's the back, extreme back of your tongue touching, the top of your mouth. It's direction. It's specific places. And sifat is quality. Like you can say when you're going down Main Street, go 30 miles an hour, go slow, go fast, or drive rough, or something like that. And sifat is the same thing as so the letter is pronounced from the extreme back of the tongue, and it's heavy, right? So that heavy or light, or rolling of a letter, like that's all qualities of letters, right? So anyway, there are multiple letters to one makhraj, but the difference is in their sifat. So there can be 3 letters to one place of makhraj, right? One place of reading a letter, but the difference comes in is in their sifat, whether they're heavy or light. And it says بأفصح اللغات ليلفظوا بأفصح اللغات. So that is the Arabic. Sheikh Faisal said the Arabic language is considered the best language, and that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose it for his final revelation. محرر التجويد والمواقف وما الذي رسم في المصاحف. Translation: becoming proficient in tajweed, in the makharij and sifat of letters, waqf, which means stopping, and that which has been written in the masahif. So waqf, like I told you, means stopping, and it's part of tajweed. Okay? And Ali radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him, has been reported to have said, waqf is half of Tajweed. So, it shows that waqf is an important aspect of Tajweed that one needs to learn. Quran cannot be written in any. So this last point is referring to Rusima fil Masahifi, right? The writing of the Quran. So the Quran cannot be written in any manner. There are certain protocols to be followed when writing it. And by the way, this last point I took from the commentary of Sheikh Salim. Um, so there's certain protocols that need to be followed, and basically when Uthman, the third Khalifa, when he compiled the Quran in one book during his time, and he wrote it. So basically, there's rules that were, taken out of that, and that anyone who wants to write the Quran, he has to learn the science of rasm, right? The science of writing it. So that's what it's talking about. And the last slide, من كل مقطوع وموصول بها وتاء أنثى لم تكن تكتب بها. Concerning every cut and joined compound in it, the masahif, and the feminine ta that was not written with a ha. So this talks about two topics that will be covered later, inshallah. One is every cut and join letter. So, for example, in some parts of the Quran, you'll find haythu ma, right, written separately. In other parts, you find haythu ma together. So, inshallah, when Imam Jazariyyah, he talks about it, we'll cover it in more detail. And then the other thing about the feminine ta, which is not written with a ha. So sometimes it's rahmat with this kind of ta, and sometimes it's rahma or rahmat with this kind of ta. And again, it will be covered later, inshallah, when Imam Jazari mentions it in his poem. So, Jazakallah khair for watching. And please do remember to make dua for me and for yourself and for all the Muslimin and Muslimat. And if you have found any errors in this, do feel free to contact me. And inshallah, please stay tuned for the next video. Jazakallah khair.